Guys, I am in a constant battle against you and your risky trading. I've waged war against it. I know that this is my place in life now, this is my role, this is my battle, and I've embraced it. So let's get on with it. We're going to be talking about risk once again because it's so important. Now, in past videos, I've spoken a lot about managing your risk and doing things like only ever risking around 1 to 2% per trade, sensible things like that. We've also spoken a lot about what this means in terms of probability and outcomes. I think that's quite clear by now that if you have a large position size, you're ultimately increasing your chances of burning out your account. We've even spoken about the behavioral economic studies into loss aversion and how having larger position sizes will make this more difficult to control, and all the other psychological impacts of having risky position sizes and how that affects your ability to make good decisions and stick to your system. But now I want to talk about an aspect that I hardly ever see being discussed anywhere, and that's the physiological aspects of risky trading. Now, this isn't just about having a single risky position open every now and then, but also just about being smart in general about the way that we're approaching our trading. You see, when people are new to trading, when they're brand new, they tend to feel the pressure and the stress throughout the entire trading session. And especially, obviously, when a trade is actually open, and that's whether it's a large position or not. But if it is a large, risky position, well then forget it. They're going to be feeling ultimate stress at that point in time. The problem is, this stress and pressure has a physiological effect on your body, which can cause certain problems for you both in the short and the long term. Now, these are obviously problems that can lead to health issues. As we all know, stress can cause health issues, but it can also cause problems that will affect the way that you trade. So let's go through some of the basics of that in this video so we know what's going on. The first thing to understand is the way our body works. We have certain biological functions that are there to keep us out of danger and to keep us being able to do what we're intended to do. Now, one of these functions is intended to keep us alive when we sense danger. It's a pretty good function if you ask me. That's the one that I want to focus on in this video. You see, when we sense danger, our body releases adrenaline and cortisol. You probably already know what adrenaline is. It's something that increases our blood pressure, our heart rate, and boosts our energy supplies and makes us feel a bit funny as well. However, it seems that not so many people are familiar with cortisol. Cortisol is also known as the stress hormone. It's a steroid hormone and is made in the cortex of the adrenal glands and then released into the bloodstream. This then transports all over the body, and this release in our body leads to things like our senses being heightened, our heart rate increasing. We're basically getting primed for our fight or flight state. It's going to help us survive and get away from danger. However, this increase in energy comes at an expense. Cortisol is obviously very good for the body in terms of the benefits it provides, unless you have too much of it. Our body's intended to react to the danger, release the cortisol and adrenaline before then settling back to normal once the danger's gone. But if you're constantly in a state of stress, this cortisol is going to stay being produced in your body, and that's when the expense of it really starts to add up. Nearly every cell in our body has a receptor for cortisol, and this means that different reactions take place throughout your body. So basically, you're preparing for fight or flight, which means that there are certain functions that aren't needed at that point in time for survival. So, of course, this means that important systems start to shut down. Our immune system starts to shut down. Our digestive system can start to shut down. And unfortunately, our reproductive system too. Hence why you hear about so many stressed men not being able to get it up. But anyway, let's move swiftly on from that one. Now, obviously, all of this is absolutely fine if you're just needing that fight or flight mode briefly to escape a predator, as you do in normal everyday life. But it's not so good if you're spending all day being stressed out about your trades. This is going to mean that you're more susceptible to getting ill, which means, guess what? If you're ill, you're not going to be trading while you're stuck in bed being an illbee, a little sick note. You also won't have as much of an appetite, which means no essential energy for good cognitive processing. And guys and girls, I really don't think I need to give you an example for why the third system I mentioned is going to be bad for your long-term well-being. Now, some of you guys, especially the younger guys and girls out there, you'll think that this is not much of an issue, and you'll want to continue with your high-risk trading and getting stressed because you value money over your health. health. And you don't realize that if you're sick, you're not going to be enjoying your material possessions that you get anyway. But here's the thing, these hormones also can affect the way that you make your decisions, and it can make it very difficult to stick to your trading system and to be profitable over the long term. Firstly, when we're in that state of feeling stressed, when the cortisol's in our body, our senses are hypersensitized. This can lead to over trading or not being able to decipher what's important or not in the charts. Suddenly, everything becomes an opportunity or a danger. And one of its functions, this cortisol, is that it causes us to be anxious and paranoid. Feelings which might protect us if we're in danger, but feelings that will absolutely ruin us in the market. Now, in terms of longer term effects, if you continue to be in a state of stress, it can cause other problems with your mind, such as anxiety and depression, headaches, sleep problems, bad memory, and concentration as well. This will be disastrous for your trading. You see, memories are stored in a section of the brain called the hippocampus, and I'm sure my pronunciation is excellent of that. When cortisol levels are too high, it causes this part of the brain to be overwhelmed, and this can cause atrophy in this area. Some studies on elderly patients have shown that those with higher cortisol levels have a worse memory because of the damage to the hippocampus. And in fact, there have even been studies on the effects of cortisol in the financial markets to traders and investors. These studies have had different outcomes, but one underlying similarity is that it always leads to erratic behavior in general. So, one particular study found that a boost in cortisol and testosterone led to investments in riskier assets. And they even claim that they can use cortisol levels to predict instability in the markets. So, stress levels have the potential to destabilize the markets. Interesting. So what do you think that that's going to do to your trading individually? On the other hand, a different study actually found that traders were more risk averse when they had higher levels of cortisol. So they were perceiving danger in the markets everywhere and avoiding risk as much as possible. Now, this might sound good if you're being more risk averse, you're being less risky, more cautious, but in fact, they suggested that this caused instability in risk behavior. This is not conducive to following a good trading plan. It's causing you to make the wrong decisions. Now, there are also many other effects of cortisol, including paranoia, becoming more self-focused, meaning that you lack empathy for people, and lots of other problems that can really rub off on people around you and ruin your life as you know it right now. So instead, for the good of our health, for the good of our relationships and our trading performance and performance in other aspects of our life, we need to learn how to control our stress levels. So let's have a think about how we can do that. The first and most important one is to control your position sizes. You'll find yourself remarkably less stressed if you keep your percentage at risk on each trade lower. The 1 to 2% figure I talk about a lot has so many benefits from so many angles that I feel you'd be unwise not to consider it. Of course, at times it's inevitable that you're going to go over that amount just by accident or by poor decision making at that point in time, but having a short burst of stress hormones is okay. It's your long-term stress that we're concerned about. Spending an entire trading session or even weeks stressed over one position is a killer. And when I say killer, I mean it literally. If your immune system is down, you can get ill and you can die. Fact. And that's not even to mention the heart attacks that you're at risk of when you're stressed. So, other ways we can reduce stress is to practice meditation and mindfulness. This is something I'll be doing a whole video about very soon, so I'll go into a lot more detail about it then. Music has also been found to reduce cortisol levels, and I'd recommend checking out our video about finding the perfect music for trading. It's linked in the description box down below, and it should really help you to find something that's going to reduce your stress levels. And finally, an obvious one, living a healthy lifestyle is of paramount importance. This means eating a balanced diet, exercising often, yeah I know, getting enough sleep each night, that's difficult too, and drinking plenty of water. Now I should also mention that spending time with family and friends can help a lot, since having fun and laughing can also reduce cortisol levels. So basically, don't get so busy making a living that you forget to have a life. And in the end, it's likely that whatever you're stressed about in most cases is not even half as bad as you think it is, so try and push it to one side. But anyway, that's where we'll leave that for now. Please, for your own good, take on board the things that I'm saying. And please also share this with people that you know, since the same things that I've said apply for most jobs, not just trading. And of course, if you like the video, please do hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this and about other subjects relating to financial markets, trading, and all kinds of things. And I'll see you in the next one very, very soon. I appreciate you watching so much. Take care, and I'll see you soon.